Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the next video in our Platinum Trophy Guide for Dark Souls Remastered. In the last video, we'd gone through New Londo ruins and fought the Four Kings, one of the first four big bosses you have to take on before reaching the final boss in the endgame. Now from here, we're back in Anor Londo, and we're actually going to go and fight the next boss, and that is going to be Seath the Scaleless up in the Duke's Archives. Now, from the Anor Londo bonfire that you can teleport to, you're going to come out and come to the left over here. As you'll see, there's a couple of giants guarding these chests over here, and we're actually needing to grab that one right here, right in front of us on the right-hand side. So what we're going to do is simply just lure him out, and then we're going to take care of him. As you can see, just a couple of hits and he goes down. Same for this guy. Now this chest right here on the right you want to be very careful of, as it is a mimic, as you can see. But before he even has a chance to attack us, we can kill him. And then we can loot this chest over here for some twinkling titanite. Now we can grab a crystal halberd once the game starts emoting. Or stops. But from here we can now continue on up to the archives. We can actually just run between this guy's legs like he's nothing and head to the next area. Now making our way up here into this little area, as you'll see, we have a boar waiting for us. But don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how to quickly get past him. All you're going to want to do is go until he starts running at you, and then quickly turn around, and he'll eventually stop after a certain point, as long as you maintain running. From here, we're actually going to come around this corner and run past this other boar, as you'll see, and we're going to head up this elevator. Don't worry, the boars can't reach you up here, so don't worry. Now we're more or less just going to be running through the first part of the Duke's Archives. As you'll see, we have a Chandler here who's going to buff all of the enemies and make our life a little bit harder, but that's okay. From here, like I said, we're just going to be running through. And then finally taking this elevator up right here. As you'll see, the archives is pretty big, but there are a bunch of the floors we can't access, but that's neither here nor there. For now, what you're also going to want to do is just send this elevator back down and quickly run off before you go down with it. It'll save time later on. Moving on here, we'll run down this hallway and we'll find this crystal guy who's ready to give us a beating. But as you can see, he is like Swiss cheese. Now, before we continue on, what you want to do is swap out your gold serpent ring for the rare ring of sacrifice as well. So make sure you have that equipped before continuing on. Here you'll find a crystal lizard who will give us some blue, or possibly blue chunks, but we didn't get any, and that's okay. But from here, we're going to come into this area right here, as you can see, and we'll fight Seath the Scaleless. But actually, what you simply want to do is just die to him. This is why we have the rare ring of sacrifice. That way we don't get cursed. Figured that would hit, but okay. As you can see, though, it takes a bit. There we go. Now, it is a mandatory death that you can skip, of course, if you're a speedrunner or have the skill to do it on any playthrough after your first. But for your first playthrough, you have to purposely die and come here to this jail cell area. Now we can re-equip our gold serpent ring and quickly give this snake man a smack to open up our gel cell. Now from here we're going to access this bonfire and call it home. But once you step right outside your little gel cell, the chime will start and a bunch of enemies will start descending the game, or the staircase up to you. Take out these guys while we're at it. So from here, all you want to do is make your way all the way down. As you'll see, these enemies here. Now do note that they actually can drop humanity. So do be on the lookout for that. But every single one of them, when killed, gives 800 souls as well, which is not bad. But like I said, they mainly are good for dropping humanity. Now getting down to the bottom here, there should always be these 4 ready to go and fight. And then there'll be 2 more inside. As you can see, we got the humanity there. Now these 2 in here aren't actually going to be hostile towards you, but they do drop 2 miracles that you're going to want to grab. As you'll see, and as well you'll find Big Cat Logan chilling in another cage. Now, we're just going to wait and come back and save him. But for now, we're going to ascend this ladder and grab the key for the door on our way out, or for our way out. As you'll see though, most of these enemies go down fairly easily. And just like that, we'll be done. Now coming back here, we can grab this key, and then if you really want to, you can also turn off the giant alarm, or whatever you'd like to call this. It does get quite annoying. But now from here, actually what I'm going to do to save on some time is I'm going to head all the way back up the stairs up to where our bonfire was. So from the bonfire, you're going to want to follow the path that I take to get through the archives and unlock a few things. Now for the sake of making it a little bit easier, I did go ahead and clear out most of the enemies along the way. I would highly suggest that you try and take them on as they come at you one at a time. That way you don't get overwhelmed, as the enemies in this area use crystal weapons and sorcery, which hurts a lot. But coming out here, you'll want to head off to the left. Follow these stairs up and head inside, and heading off to the left, you'll find a Chandler. Now depending on your damage and weapon type, he might end up teleporting away. But from here, you'll just follow this path along to this staircase right here. Now from here, all you want to do is simply just turn this staircase. And as you'll see, it'll rotate to the other side. Now up here, you're going to follow the path that I take. And this will get you a new sorcery, as well as unlocking the next area in the Duke's Archives. So from here, all you're going to want to do is drop down onto this staircase, but before turning it, you want to come up to the other side here, and come off to the right to find a chest with a new sorcery inside, the Strong Magic Shield. Then from here, we're now finally going to turn the staircase. Then from here, we're actually going to head down. Coming over here into this area, we'll see that we have this archer enemy. And we're just going to take this ladder all the way down. And then we can pull this lever to find the next main bonfire that we can access, hidden behind this bookcase. Normally you could come down here beforehand and get this bonfire, that way you don't have to go all the way back to the prison. But I just like doing it in one go. Now from here, if you come inside off to the left, you'll find in this chest some blue titanite chunks, or a chunk. And then heading off into this room right here, you'll find a couple of useful items. Here you'll find a full channeler set. Over here you will find a key to the tower, or the cell that Logan is in. And right here you'll find another mimic. This time he's a little bit beefier than the last one we fought, but he still goes down all the same, and he will drop the next weapon type that you can unlock, the enchanted falchion. Now coming back here behind the staircase, you can also find the crystal ember. Now for the sake of things, we're going to head all the way back and save Logan, and then from there we're going to come back to this bonfire right here. So from here you're basically just going to follow this path that I take, as this is also the path you're going to run whenever it comes to farming the channelers for their tridents. You'll come up the stairs here, follow this up, and keep following it up. And as you'll see, we'll be back to where we just were. So as you'll see, we'll now be heading back towards our prison cell. And we got a couple enemies that sounded like they were close on our heels. For the sake of things, I will skip all the way down to the very bottom to show you guys me saving Logan, as well as grabbing the item in the cell, because it is important. And as you'll see, we can now save Logan. He'll thank us. Make sure to exhaust all of his dialogue. And then if you come back here, you can find yourself another Firekeeper soul. Pretty cool, right? Now, once again, I'm going to skip all the way back to that new bonfire that we unlocked and show you guys what to do from here. Alright, so now from this bonfire here, like I said, you're going to want to follow the path that I take, and now we'll find Logan in his new location off here to the left. Kind of tucked away, as you'll see. Now he'll have 3 new sorceries for us to buy. Pretty nice. And now he'll have his full inventory gone. Now you want to make sure that you have bought all of his sorceries in the game. And then that is it. We can move on. We'll come back to Logan in a minute because he has one more sorcery that he's going to give us, as well as a very strong catalyst or staff. But coming here into this room, we'll find this lever that will lower this staircase right here. And in here we can find a new fog wall to go through. Now coming off to the right is the fastest option whenever it comes to dropping down, to avoid not taking any damage. Now from here, I'm just going to head right into the crystal caves, as you'll see right here. You can basically just run past all of these crystal golems. They're not going to be that much of a worry. There is one in particular you will have to probably fight and deal with, but that will be in just a moment. As you can see, you can run past pretty much all of them. Now coming on down here, heading further inside, you can find this invisible walkway you can traverse to get a free humanity. As you'll see, there's also these moonlight butterflies scattering the caves. If you want to fight them, you can, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Now here you'll have your tutorial of the invisible like crystals you can walk across, and here you'll have a crystal golem that is probably going to be a issue. He's very annoying, as he likes to not ever... Okay, well, he doesn't normally do that for me. Anyways, continue on. If you come right here to where I am, you can drop down, and in this little area you'll find 3 crystal lizards. I don't know why I'm whiffing so hard. But now from here we actually have a very important thing to do, and what you're going to want to do is equip those prism stones that we had bought a long time ago right here. Now I'm going to quickly get it all laid out and show you guys the path, but it's basically going to be you're going to want to walk on the invisible pathway and drop the prism stones, and this will lead you all the way over to that item just over there, which is the blue titanite slab, which you'll need to get 2 of. So I'm going to quickly do that. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've laid out the path. Now this can take a bit of time to figure out and get familiar with how to do, but the prism stones won't disappear for infinite, they last forever. But basically you can kind of use the falling crystal shards, as you'll see, to kind of give you an idea of where to go to place them so you can kind of see the path. Do note there are certain areas to where you'll go to throw the prism and it'll fall, letting you know that you can't walk there. But now from here we can follow the path and be on our way. Now coming out the other side of this little crystal concave, or whatever you'd like to call it, you'll have another tutorial message letting you know to just keep running straight. As you'll see, the path extends all the way over here. Now following this around, you'll find the innermost area of the crystal caves, which has the secret to Seath's immortality. Now we're just going to run past all of these giant clams, and then we're going to do a quit out of the game. Pretty much once you reach a certain point of the game, you'll hit a cutscene where Seath will enter, and then we're just going to quit out and reset. Now the reason why we're doing this is to make things a little bit easier on ourselves in regards to cutting off his tail. He has probably the hardest tail in the game that you will have to cut to get a unique weapon. Now I have a pretty consistent setup of how I like to do it, but once you respawn in, immediately enter the boss arena and try and bait out a attack of his while he has his tail facing the immortality, as you'll see. It can be pretty hard to get him to do that, but what you can do is you can actually lure him over to make your life a little bit easier. Because as long as he has the crystal up, he won't take any damage. So then what you can do is you can kind of bait him around into doing certain attacks, as well as moving him. So here I'm going to sit in front of him to bait out an attack of his. Then I'm actually going to chill by his tail. As you'll see, he'll raise his tail up, and that will allow me to then hit the crystal, which will actually stagger him. And you're going to want to hit this very specific tip of his tail. As you'll see though, the damage output wasn't great, so we weren't able to get it off, but that is pretty much how you're going to do it. Then from here, if you're having trouble, you can then just continue with getting him to do that. As you'll see though, it is going to take a couple of hits, but once you finally get it, you'll get the Moonlight Greatsword, and then you can now spend the rest of the fight actually trying to fight Seath. Now his weak point is right here in the center, as this will take the most amount of damage from any of your attacks. Now whenever he does that, you basically want to run as far away as you can. As you'll see, he'll do a large explosion. Now because my weapon isn't as upgraded as I'd like it to be, the damage output isn't exactly that great. Once again, he's doing his little giant explosion. For the most part, he's not a tough boss, but his crystals, as you'll see, can make it a little bit annoying, as well as him constantly spamming his one attack. As you'll see, just being within certain range of it will cause you to basically take some damage. But normally you're able to bait in some easy attacks from him, which he's just not wanting to do at all. I don't know why he's being so stubborn, but normally you can bait out attacks from him that'll give you the opportunity to attack his inner area, but as you guys are seeing, he's just not wanting to go for it. Because normally you can bait out breath attacks from him. As you'll see, like that. You can also attack his side tails as well. Once again, another crystal explosion. As you'll see though, getting hit directly by his breath attack does hurt quite a lot. There we go, we finally got some decent patterns from him. But probably not enough to finish. Nope, we actually got just enough to finish him off, which is nice before his explosion went off. After beating Seath, you will then get another trophy for beating him, and then we can now warp back, and then we'll continue Logan's questline and finish up the Duke's Archives. Alright, so from this bonfire, you're basically going to want to go and talk to Logan again, and if everything is done correctly, he should start acting like he doesn't know you. There we go. So now all you want to do is simply quit out and reload the game. Alright, so upon reloading, you'll notice that Logan has disappeared. So now we're going to go track him down, kill him, and get another sorcery. Now from here, we're just going to follow the path like we're going to farm the channelers for their trident, but instead of going up another set of stairs, we're going to take a right, and in here we're going to not just immediately access the elevator, of course, but we're going to come back over here and fight a couple of enemies. Grab some more Twinkling Titanite. After taking out these two enemies here, we'll have another mimic right here, and this should be the last mimic of the base game. Now, after defeating this last mimic in the base game, you should also get the Symbol of Avarice, like so, which will basically help increase farming and souls obtained from enemies in case you need that. But from here, we're now going to head up, take this elevator up that we sent back down at the beginning of the game, or beginning of this area. And then from here, we're going to head back up to the room where we died to Seath the first time. Now, as you'll see, once you make it to the top, you'll find Logan, and he has no armor at all. And as you'll see, with just 2 soul spears, he goes down in no problem at all. and he will drop the sorcery White Dragon Breath. Now we're almost done with the sorceries, so don't worry. Now in this chest here you'll find the large magic ember, which you will need to grab, but we're not quite done just yet in this room. If you come up this staircase just to the right of the entrance and then take a right, you'll find on a corpse a item that is very important, the soul of a great hero. If you're using the soul duplication glitch that I showed off in this guide, then this is the single most amount of souls you can get from a item in the game, as it gives you 20,000 souls per use. It's quite a lot. But now from here we're actually going to head all the way back down, and we're going to farm the Chandlers for their tridents. Like I said, that is going to be the last thing that you'll have to do, which of course, like always, I'll show you guys once I obtain mine. So yeah. Alright, as you guys can see though, I finally got the Chandler's Trident, and now it's the fun part of getting out of here. Or not. Alright, but once you've gotten your Chandler's Trident, that should be the last thing that you have to do here in the Duke's Archives. So now from here we're going to go all the way back to Firelink Shrine, and that is going to be where we pick up in the next video, as we now have two options to go from. We can head down into the catacombs, or we can head down into Izalith in the Demon Ruins. Me personally, I'm going to do the Demon Ruins next.
There you are. I'll be
Like I said before, make sure Sigurd is going to be heading down below. But as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope these videos and guides are helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.